Hey guys, Nate Tice here from the Athletic Football Show. Going to be doing a new series on our YouTube channel where I look at the top 4 quarterback prospects for this upcoming 2023 NFL Draft. A little player profile, a snapshot of these guys' strengths, weaknesses, room for improvement, best potential team fit, and some player comparisons, maybe an upside comparison if they get into the right team situation and fit. Today, going to be starting with C.J. Stroud, quarterback from Ohio State. Threw for 85 touchdowns over his 2 years starting in Columbus. Let's dive in and see what Stroud brings to the table. When talking about Stroud, it really should be noted how much he improved during his 2 years starting. His first year as a redshirt freshman in 2021 had some productivity, but also had some struggles before finishing with a fantastic game in the Rose Bowl against Utah. Now, during his second season as a redshirt sophomore, really looked more confident, looked more filled out as his body type as he got more mature and older, and really just ascended throughout the season. When the going got tough for Ohio State, which wasn't often, but when it did, games like Northwestern or at the end of the season against Michigan or Georgia in the college football playoff, really took the ball in his hands and took over the game when this team needed him the most. Something you really want to see out of these quarterback prospects. Now, the strengths with C.J. Stroud as a player. First and foremost, his accuracy. He layers throws, is able to throw all 3 levels with accuracy and timing, able to place balls, throw a touch, looping liners over intermediate defenders, as well as just throwing with anticipation and leading receivers so they can create yards after the catch. He still is about 215 right now as he enters the NFL, but he has a frame to grow into. He has longer arms. He has big 10-inch hands. So even though he has decent size, I would say he has good height, but like a decent frame right now, he still can grow into it and really get to that fully body that can hold up and with the tough blows that he'll face in the NFL. Now, another thing with Stroud, good arm strength. I will say that he can even touch it very good, like a baseball pitcher that maybe throws 94, 95 and can touch 98 when he really needs to gear up. That's exactly how I look at Stroud. There's games, most notably against Northwestern, super windy day, and he was able to drive on throws. Or this throw against Iowa, not even using his feet, has a rush in his face, and he's still driving on this seam throw and beating the safety before the safety can blow up the play. Now, I would say that his arm strength isn't overwhelming. It's not elite. It's not the Josh Allens or the Justin Herberts of the world, but it's actually, I think it's gotten a little underrated throughout this process. He's willing and able to throw at all 3 levels. He'll push the ball. He'll throw it down the field. And he'll be selectively aggressive, which is something you want to see from these quarterbacks. He'll throw over the middle. He'll throw it to the outside and is able to throw those deeper throws, comebacks, speed outs to the field. I have no issues with it because he does it with timing and has plenty of arm strength to give him some room for error. The other thing with Stroud, he's a good athlete. He doesn't always show it, which we'll talk about in a second, but when he does have to show off his athletic traits as a runner and creator, he's a plus athlete. He's one of the better athletes on the field, especially in the frame that he can grow into. If he makes that kind of 224 frame with this good speed, again, not elite, but a good athlete that can be used on designed runs when needed. It opens up more of the playbook for play callers at the next level. There's games against Northwestern again. I want to bring this one up because it was such tough sledding for the Ohio State offense throughout that entire game. It was like 50-mile-an-hour winds. You can just see the refs' pants just blowing every which way. And on top of it, Northwestern's defense was very well coached and well schemed in that game. They were running Ohio State's routes for them. And so the going got tough. And what Ohio State decided to do was, hey, CJ, go make us some plays. Let's use you on some designed runs. And he broke a couple off. And of course, there's games Michigan and then Georgia in the college football playoff where you get to see Stroud as a creator, a play extender. Stroud likes to be strong in the pocket and stand in the pocket, move around, find the throws, and do his damage from there. He's a true quarterback. But that is not to understate how good of an athlete he is. And we saw that the most in the game against Georgia in the college football playoff, where we saw him as a creator, doing stuff out of structure, ad-libbing. This is a prerequisite at the NFL level for quarterbacks, especially top-end quarterbacks, especially for a quarterback you're looking at in the top 5 or potentially number 1, like C.J. Stroud is. All these things makes Stroud have a high floor as a starter. He really looks like a player that can get dropped in. He has good eyes. He's calm in the pocket. He has good footwork. He has a good strong frame where he stands up tall. He maneuvers with his eyes. He maneuvers in the pocket. He also can just place throws and understands what each concept's trying to do. And I actually do think that he has more upside to his game than he's been given credit for. And actually, that upside that you want to see when you're taking a guy in the top 5. And now time for some weaknesses or room for improvement for C.J. Stroud. It should be noted he did play at Ohio State. And I don't know if you guys know this, but Ohio State's got a lot of talent. They are a blue blood program. And sure enough, on offense, he played with a couple potential first-round tackles, Paris Johnson Jr. and DeJuan Jones at either tackle position. Led to a lot of clean pockets for Stroud to operate out of. Got to take his time back there, look around, find the best option. That is something that won't be likely at the next level, even with strong offensive lines. He'll have a lot more dirty pockets to operate out of that I do think he'll be okay out of. I do think he stands strong and can change his arm angle and figure that stuff out. But it should be noted the clean pockets that he operated out of. That talent from Ohio State also applies to the wide receiver position, especially the wide receiver position. 2021, he played with Garrett Wilson, who won Rookie of the Year. Chris Olave, who I personally thought should have won Rookie of the Year and is also a talented player in his own right, as well as Jackson Smith and Jigba, who is going to be probably a first rounder this year in the 2023 draft. And on top of that, there's another receiver, you might have heard of him. His name is Marvin Harrison Jr., who I think next year in the 2024 draft probably be a top 5 or top 10 pick. Yes, he is that talented. So the room for error, while Stroud really maximizes it with enough arm strength and plenty of accuracy and timing, it does help to have guys that catch just about everything, run clean routes, and are open by a lot. There's a lot of separation on film when you watch Ohio State, and Stroud, will make some tougher throws and throw into tighter windows, but there are times where guys are running wide open because of these talented receivers. I would say Stroud's pocket movement is more above average than good right now. He shows flashes of moving in the pocket and finding throws, but there's times where he's sitting there and he's kind of flat-footed and the pass rush ends up getting to him when they loop around his tackles. And you want to just see a little more aggression when he's moving in the pocket. And when I mean aggression, just more like burst and more oomph when he moves in the pocket. He does show flashes of it. I want to say that again. But there are times where it's like, come on, man, just move a little bit and you can find that throw a little bit easier. Easily fixable. He keeps his eyes downfield. He does find throws when he does have to move in the pocket. It's not because of the pass rush stuff. I think he just needs more live reps. And again, late in the season when stuff broke down around him, he did show the ability to create and move in the pocket and find those throws, or outside the pocket and throw off platform. The other thing too is that you might notice in some of these clips, he takes a little extra hitch sometimes before he throws the ball, pats the ball maybe one time too many before throwing it. Well, he does throw a tight spiral, throws with accuracy, and most of the time has good timing on his throws. It does show up and crop up. And as the NFL, when windows get tighter, you don't have as much of a talent discrepancy with your receivers. You don't have those clean pockets. There might have to take some fat out of that footwork and out of those throws and out of patting the ball before releasing it. All very fixable things, but stuff that should be noted as a room for improvement. And for my player comparison for Stroud, I'm going with Dak Prescott with a little bit more arm strength. Now, of course, this isn't going to be a one-to-one comparison, but the accuracy, operating from the pocket, kind of the cerebral mental side that Dak Prescott has shown the last few years, both pre-snap and operating the offense, getting the offensive line aligned with pass protection, getting everybody set, being able to run no huddle, as well as post-snap, throwing with accuracy and with timing all over the field, is something that I do think is going to be achievable for Stroud in his career. Now, I do also think that Stroud has a little bit more arm strength to be able to push the ball down the field or attack the intermediate areas than Dak has shown throughout his career, but also maybe not get to that size. Dak Prescott's a very large human being, especially at the quarterback position, very strong. I do think Stroud will get stronger and add to his frame, but maybe not get to that extent that Dak Prescott has. Now, I do think this comparison is a high-end one, but I do think it is achievable for Stroud over his time as a starter in the NFL. Now, looking at team fits, the Carolina Panthers at the top of the draft make a ton of sense for Stroud. They have a strong offensive line that's all under contract through 2024. They have Frank Reich as a play caller who has shown experience and the ability to adjust his attack based on his quarterback's strengths and weaknesses. They also have a decent group of pass catchers that they signed in free agency. Hayden Hurst at tight end, DJ Chark and Adam Thielen. While not the most fantastic weapons in the world, are still solid enough to help out whatever rookie quarterback they decide to select, as well as having Miles Sanders to help take the load off with a good run game. Now, other teams in the top 5, the Houston Texans, they have Bobby Slowick from the 49ers as their offensive coordinator, running most likely a Shanahan-type scheme with a lot of movement throws on there. That should also match well with Stroud. They also have a decent offensive line, Laramie Tunsil. They went and traded for Shaq Mason. That'll really help the whatever quarterback they want to drop in there with decent pass catchers and guys like Robert Woods and Noah Brown that they signed from free agency, as well as Dalton Schultz at tight end and Dameon Pierce at running back. Now, the last team in the top 5, the Indianapolis Colts, offensive line is they're reconfiguring it, I'll say nicely, which, whatever quarterback gets dropped in there is going to have to figure out and sift their way through. But they have big, strong pass catchers and Alec Pierce and Michael Pittman, and a couple tight ends that are big and strong, and Mo Alley Cox and Jelani Woods, as well as another strong running back in Jonathan Taylor that will take the load off as well for whatever rookie quarterback they decide to select or possibly trade for. Thank you guys so much for joining me in my snapshot of C.J. Stroud. I hope it was informative for you guys. Please make sure to subscribe to the Athletic Football Show's YouTube channel. You'll be seeing more content like this. I'll be covering Will Levis, Anthony Richardson, and Bryce Young in the upcoming weeks. We have other content coming out here on our channel, so please make sure to subscribe, like it, and check it out every single day because there's plenty more to come as the draft rolls on.